Thanks everyone for watching. I'm Deb Lavoy of Reality Team, and our guest today is John Cook, who has created a very interesting game for people who want to learn how to spot bad arguments. John, can you tell us a little bit about your background and why and how you made this game?
Yeah, well, first, hi Deb, great to be talking to you. Thanks for inviting me. So I've been researching how to fight climate misinformation for the last decade and a half. I did my PhD on the topic. I've been just gradually following the research threads wherever the data has led me. And where it's led me is to the approach of inoculation. We can build public resilience against misinformation by inoculating them against the techniques used to mislead. So now I've been focused on, well, how do you explain the techniques of misinformation in effective, engaging ways? And I happened upon the approach of gamification, using games to get people, firstly, learning the techniques of denial, but then practicing spotting them. And so last December, we launched a critical thinking game called Cranky Uncle. And the idea of the game is, well, we've made it free. It's available on iPhone, Android, and on browsers because we want as many people to play it. The more people that play it, and then the more they actually get, the further they get into the game, the more resilient the public gets against misinformation. And it's not just misinformation about climate change. It's about misinformation across all topics: vaccination, COVID-19, evolution, health misinformation in general. Yeah, so that's what we're focusing on now, developing and expanding the game.
So we've been looking at a bunch of media literacy games, and we're doing a series of these interviews and demos. And what's very cool about your game is that it doesn't show you articles that you try to decide whether they're true or false. What you're actually showing people are arguments. And ways that people try to deny that a scientific claim is true. I find this so compelling because I think everyone's had this feeling of, wait a minute, that argument sounds logical, and yet somehow I know there's something wrong with it. What you're doing is really helping people see what the flaw is and be smart about recognizing those flaws more easily and more quickly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that within the umbrella of critical thinking, that's a very broad umbrella. So media literacy is one aspect of that, and it's super important. Like, we all really need to strengthen our media literacy, but that more logical aspect of critical thinking, which is being able to spot fallacies in arguments, is also important, and goes beyond just looking at headlines and social media and every aspect of life. The problem, the challenge, and this is something I've been butting up against my whole research career, is critical thinking is hard. Our brains are hardwired for fast thinking, immediate reactions and gut instinct, mental shortcuts. And so it is possible for us to stop and slowly, carefully reason through an argument and try to work out the anti-fallacies in it. It's possible, but it's really difficult, and therefore we don't do it that much. Like 99% of our thinking is that quick, instant thinking. And so this is, even though I have developed these like inoculation techniques for explaining fallacies and boosting people's critical thinking, there's always that psychological hurdle. And that's why I got so excited learning about how games can overcome it, because what games do is get you practicing spotting those fallacies. And then, because in a game, you're building up points, you're leveling up, the game motivates you to keep practicing. And the more you practice, the quicker and easier critical thinking gets. And so that's really what this game is about, is getting you practicing spotting different fallacies across a whole range of examples. And the more further you get into the game, well, firstly, you get lots of points and you level up, and that's exciting. But you also, more importantly, strengthen your resilience against misinformation.
I will tell you that personally, having looked at some of your blog material, and you have a book out there, and working with this game, I find that I can now look at something, and instead of saying, wait, that's fishy, I can say, that's a false dichotomy. Just like having the language to identify what kind of flaw that is, has done a lot to make it faster and easier for me to sort of say, ha, I know what that is. That's a pattern I recognize now. And I know how to diffuse it, I guess, is the word. So I love this game, and I really appreciate the approach you've taken to disinformation and critical thinking. I hope people actually are going to take a look at this. And would you do me a favor, John, and pull up the game? You can, we did a little practice session here where you shared your screen so that you can actually show the app on your phone.
Okay, I'm going to do it now. Now I'm having flashbacks to all those Apple shows where they try to do a demo and Steve Jobs does it and then it fails and everybody groans. I'm hoping that's not going to happen. So are you seeing the screen okay?
Yep, looks great.
Great. So yeah, so with this game, you basically can learn all these different techniques of misinformation. And then there's the 5 main categories. And then I don't use it in the game, but when I talk about this to people, the acronym I use to help people remember the 5 techniques of denial is FLIC: fake experts, logical fallacies, impossible expectations, cherry picking, and conspiracy theories. And then underneath that, there are a whole range of logical fallacies as well. But there's also different types of cherry picking, and there's the 7 traits of conspiratorial thinking as well. So there's a lot there, but there's a lot of different types of misinformation. So that's why having a fun, engaging way to learn them is helpful. Then what happens is, as you play the game, you pick a technique. So I've just picked conspiracy theories, and then Cranky Uncle explains to you how he uses conspiracy theories to explain away the fact that all the world's scientists disagree with him. He just assumes that they're all trying to deceive him. And then not only does the game explain it to you, it just gives you text explanations, then you immediately start practicing. So which of these options is a conspiracy theory? In this case, it's the 3rd one. I'll choose that. And then you earn some points. So throughout the game, you're earning cranky points. You're basically getting crankier and crankier on your quest to become a cranky uncle. Currently, I'm at level 4, so I'm annoyed. And then you continue through the explanation, and Cranky Uncle will just give you more specific examples. In this case, talking about in climate change, what kind of conspiracy theories are used to cast doubt on climate science. In this case, it's the 2nd one. Climate scientists are in it for the money, accusing scientists of having evil motives. And once we earn those extra points, then we are, oh no, there's one more quiz. So now once you've finished an explanation, like conspiracy theories, then you have the option to do quizzes. So here is an example of a statement, and you have to decide whether it's true or false. So independent researchers is kind of code word. If you see that on the internet, it's usually someone who has no real expertise, but they do a lot of Googling.
I read
usually,
blogs, dang it. Right.
Exactly. So I'm going to choose false for that and have earned some points.
I want to pause you right there for a second, because one thing that we failed to talk about is what's cool about this game is the name Cranky Uncle, and who a cranky uncle is, and why you're getting, annoyed and becoming a cranky uncle. Do you want to explain what that means?
Yeah, so the idea is that we all have a family member who thinks they know better than the world's scientists. And we've all gone through that painful family dinner where they start ranting about climate change or the government or whatever conspiracy theory they believe, or whatever anti-science argument they might have. And so everyone I talk to, this is a ubiquitous kind of experience that we all have. And so what the game does is kind of help you make sense of your science-denying cranky uncle. And from a more objective scientific point of view, in the field of climate change, there is research showing that the people who are most likely to deny climate change are people who are older, male, white, politically conservative. It's really that kind of stereotypical demographic of cranky uncles. And so that kind of informed how I drew Cranky Uncle and how his personality throughout the game.
Cool. Why don't you show us one more? I think people should also know that you are the cartoonist here as well, that as a young kid you started cartooning, and this has now become part of your scientific career too.
Yeah, before I was a cognitive scientist, I was a cartoonist, but then I transitioned from art to science. And now this is kind of a nice way to combine both worlds. So here is an example of a tautology. It's a statement that's just inherently true. And so I want to do one more quiz because I want to see what happens if I can complete level 4. So let's go take another quiz. And then it gives, sometimes it'll say which of these examples uses this technique. In this case, the technique of fake experts. In this case, it's the second one, Jenny McCarthy being a fake expert. And so then, hey, so now I've just leveled up and my mood has gone from annoyed to huffy. So I might stop there, I think.
Yeah, this is a really fun game to play. And as I say, you know, you don't have to spend a ton of time with it before you learn enough for it to make a difference. I don't think you need to memorize all the terms. I think just sort of being aware of some of these patterns sort of gives you a way to use your skepticism. So many people come to us and they say, well, I don't know how to tell the difference between the truth and a lie. I know people are lying to me, but I don't know who's who. I don't know how to sort that out. And I really feel like just a little bit of time with this game, which as I say is kind of fun, it gives you a lot to work with to start to think that you can tell the difference. So I think it's a great game. Thanks for sharing it with us. And let's have another chat soon about more of how people use bad logic, mess with logic to trick us. All right, thanks, John. I will post the link to where you can find this in the App Store along with the video.
Thanks very much, Deb. It was